Tonight, Sydney bleeds blue. New South Wales pumped up for Origin 1 with players and fans raring to go, live to Olympic Park. The woman with a pram accused of robbing a home during a funeral, how police tracked her down. 7 News was there. Our economy on life support, unlike anything we've seen in decades, and the RBA boss is feeling the pressure. Road rage ambush, knife terror on the streets of Greenacre. The death of a Hey Hey legend, stars pay tribute to John Blackman. And the Australian invention reversing vision loss with eye drops.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. It's one of the biggest nights of the year with Origin 1 just 2 hours away. Tonight, excited Blues fans are descending on Sydney Olympic Park as our annual battle with Queensland heads into a new era. Let's go to Mel McLaughlin among the fans at Accor Stadium. Mel, for players and supporters, it doesn't get much bigger than this.
Hello to you, Fergo. Welcome back to Accor Stadium for the second time this week. It certainly doesn't get much bigger. For many of us, Origin holds a very special place on the sporting calendar, as big as any of the grand finals or international tests. We are still 2 hours away from kickoff, but fans, they've been streaming into Sydney Olympic Park all afternoon. A predicted shower or two doing nothing to dampen the spirits of the expected capacity crowds flocking to Accor Stadium. For New South Wales, there's a new captain and a new coach at the helm, and hopefully a new winning streak starting tonight.
The final countdown. Go the Blues! The sellout crowd swarming into Olympic Park.
Go the Blues! Go the Blues!
New South Wales gets up 16-12.
4 points.
4 points?
Maybe 6, but...
Supporters urged to leave the car at home with extra bus and train services put on.
Someone's going to go home happy. Right.
This morning, the teams stretching their legs before their meeting face to face. As the state was getting into the spirit, getting into the gear.
I reckon the Queenslanders are very nervous about it, actually.
New South Wales! New South Wales!
Already kitted up at Blacktown's Patrician Brothers College, where Spencer Lanu, Jerome Luai and Stephen Crichton went to school, and Stephen's brother Emmanuel is school captain.
It's a big inspiration to see boys coming from areas like these doing so well, like how they have.
For game gurus,
this is my grand final, my Super Bowl. Doesn't hurt that I absolutely hate Queensland as well. Blues fans are better looking, smarter, all of the above, mate.
Fans arriving from near and Utah. These American basketballers here to pick the wrong side.
Queensland's just better colours, and cane toads are cool.
For those hungry for a win at St Malo Hornsby, they were baking through the night to deliver colourful buns, blue and some other colour.
Oh my God, these blue buns.
Soon being served up from Chubby Buns Burgers at Blacktown to the lunch crowd at Kellyville's Edamoga pub.
It's weird that it's blue, but it tastes amazing.
Queensland cops decided to do a pup against pup. Not sure who was the underdog. See who takes the lead tonight.
We have a final message to the team from here at Patrician Brothers College.
Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Now, Fergo, as fans stream into Olympic Park, there's plenty of pressure on new captain Jake Trbojevic. The players know big things are expected. They're leaving no stone unturned in their preparations. They're already on their way to the stadium, having just left the team hotel a short time ago. Shortly, we will hear from a man who knows better than most on how he's handling the biggest night of his life, plus the Blues debutant with a bit more experience than most rookies. That's coming up later in sport. There is a lot going on, Fergo.
All happening, Mel. We'll cross back to you very soon. Thank you. It's a crime described as the lowest of the low, the ransacking of a Sydney grandmother's home on the day of her funeral. Police have spent the past 6 days searching for the heartless thieves, and 7 News was there when officers found their suspects.
From pram pusher to prisoner, Cara Buckle is taken in.
Did you steal from a grieving family?
Detectives say she did, looting the home of Nola Bulkley last Friday, the day the 81-year-old was laid to rest.
Cara, did you know they were at a funeral?
The 27-year-old allegedly stealing several items, including family heirlooms.
Obviously a celebration of Mum's life to obviously spiralling back into grief.
Buckle was seen with a pram outside the home she allegedly robbed. Detectives say it was all an act.
Was there a baby in the pram, Cara? I think it's the lowest of low.
Buckle's partner, Jacob Pollard, arrested too, charged with selling stolen goods.
Did you sell the jewellery at all?
Buckle allegedly struck again on Monday, stealing precious items from David Kim's home in Castle Hill.
A lot of it was gifted by my grandmother, and since she passed away, a lot of that stuff you can't replace.
Buckle then asked her alleged victim's neighbour to book her an Uber.
She claimed that her phone ran out of battery.
Today, investigators recovered countless items, including jewellery belonging to both families.
These arrests came after a few slip-ups and modern technology letting the accused robber down. The Uber dropped Cara Buckle across the road from her home here in Kellyville, and the Apple Watch she allegedly stole pinged from this address.
I pinged the address where the watch was located, and so I told that to the cops.
Would you like to say anything to this grieving family?
Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
Australia's economy is on life support tonight, with growth of just 1.1% in the year to March. Outside of COVID, it's the lowest level since the recession of the early 1990s. And conditions could be a lot worse without one American pop star.
Her Eras tour poured $300 million into the economy, and now Swiftonomics has helped keep the economy afloat.
Yes, there were some one-off events.
But not enough to prevent the lowest growth result outside the pandemic since 1991, and this.
This is a recession that Australia had to have.
Economic growth of just 0.1% in the March quarter, 1.1% for the year.
There's a whole generation of Australians who've never seen anything like this.
An economy barely with a heartbeat, consumer spending subdued, household savings at a 15-year low, productivity virtually non-existent.
The primary cause of this very weak growth in our economy was higher interest rates.
The economy is weak, yes.
The Reserve Bank governor warning if inflation refuses to fall, the RBA won't hesitate in sending rates even higher.
Not ruling anything in, ruling anything out.
Saying the full impact of the final 2 rate rises will only be felt in coming months. Michelle Bullock also revealing the budget's energy bill relief will have little, if any, impact on the RBA's future decisions on interest rates. Saying the $3.5 billion rebates might lower headline inflation but not the underlying rate that the RBA relies on.
We try to look through things that are one-off and are going to be reversed.
Jim Chalmers says the rebates, coupled with stage 3 tax cuts from next month, will help.
Australians in communities right around our country don't need the March national accounts to tell them that things are tight right now and things are tough right now.
And are likely to remain tough for some time.
And live to Mark Riley now. Mark, the Greens have been condemned for supporting protesters attacking politicians' offices.
Well, Mark, both Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and Opposition Leader Peter Dutton slammed the pro-Palestinian protesters as anti-Semitic and unacceptable, accusing the Greens of whipping them up, sparking some fiery scenes in Parliament.
Enough is enough.
Yeah. The Greens should condemn it instead of condoning it.
Yeah.
I will not be lectured to about peace and non-violence by people who back the invasion of Gaza.
Mr Albanese said the protesters were undermining the Palestinian cause by abusing and threatening innocent electorate officers, demanding they stop. Mark.
Mark Riley at Parliament House, thank you. He's got a knife. That's what terrified passengers screamed during a shocking road rage attack in Sydney's southwest. A man ran towards their car armed and angry before getting back in his own vehicle to chase after them after they tried to escape.
Swerving in front, then squaring off.
Oh my God. Don't get out of the car, please. What are you doing?
A hooded man steps out of his Toyota Corolla armed with a knife and full of fury.
Don't get out of the car. Run! Oh my God.
Unleashing on this ute, the young male driver takes off quickly, sideswiping the other man's car.
Why did you do that?
Did you not see what he's doing?
He had a knife in his hand.
Call the cops.
Call the police.
And it didn't end there.
Oh my God, he's coming after you, Brad. No.
Call the cops.
The 3 people in the ute were on their way to an NRL match in April when they were ambushed.
I'm scared.
We do not tolerate violent crimes on our streets whatsoever.
Police are still trying to work out if this was a random attack or if a separate dispute had occurred moments earlier here in Lakemba, which may have triggered the violent road rage incident.
In the last 12 months, there were almost 1,000 road rage incidents in New South Wales. That's concerning to me.
Annie Puller, 7 News.
As we saw earlier, the Blues are on their way. Let's go live to Jaleesa Apps at Accor Stadium. Jaleesa, there'll be 5 nervous rookies arriving there very soon.
Yeah, there certainly will, Fergo. We've seen them leave their team hotel. They'll be making their way here any moment. It is a very different looking side that Michael Maguire has put together. It's a very Madge side. It's full of toughness, full of grit. As you can tell behind me, the fans are pretty excited. But yeah, as you mentioned, there'll be nervous rookies. There will be a new captain in Jake Trbojevic. They have had a little bit of a disrupted preparation. They obviously saw Dylan Edwards out with injury. James Tedesco come in. Today we heard the usual rubbish from Queensland. It means so much to them. They would die for the jersey. As if that New South Wales doesn't feel the same, I can tell you Michael Maguire feels the same, and in Madge we trust.
In Madge and Jake we trust, Jaleesa, no doubt. Thank you. Australian radio and television legend John Blackman has died at the age of 76. A star of Hey Hey It's Saturday, Blackman was famous for making us laugh, even managing to make light of his 5-year battle with cancer.
Funny, sharp-witted, brave in the face of illness, and the old-school voice of Australia's TV weekends.
You're watching Hey Hey It's Saturday.
John Blackman died yesterday. It's believed he had a heart attack, collapsing on the couch in the arms of wife Cecile.
It came as a hell of a shock when I heard today that he'd gone, because he was at my birthday party only a couple of months ago.
He made a name by making a character, Dickie Knee.
My mum actually wears a ponytail like that, but only because she can't afford a facelift.
He'd beaten cancer once, only for it to return.
As you can see, my face has changed a bit. It's not so bad because all the people I borrowed money from don't recognise me anymore. So if you're out there...
When I think of John Blackman, I have the biggest smile because... apart from all that, he was so kind. He was a really kind one of the goodies in the business.
You're an idiot. How dare you call me an idiot?
You're an idiot. Well, those glory days of Hey Hey, often you didn't see him, but his presence was always felt.
With the super responsive shit, the bad news is the
great dad, great brother, a terrific mate, and a really funny guy to be around.
Does your dad know you've got his golfing hat on?
From Daryl Summers, I'm devastated at the loss of my beloved friend.
I love John.
John Blackman was 76. Hey Hey's cartoonist Andrew Fife helping him sign off a final time. Blake Johnson, 7 News.
The Albanese government admits it's unacceptable that nearly 90% of National Disability Insurance Scheme providers are unregistered. It's led to the purchase of drugs, cars and holidays with taxpayers' money.
Some people don't want scrutiny. The truth is, it's doing well, but it needs to have more consistency, equity, transparency and accountability.
Legislation to rein in the cost of the NDIS has cleared the House of Representatives and will now go to the Senate. Sydney's last century trains are getting a this century makeover, costing almost $500 million to keep them going until replacements can be built locally. And we're being warned that could take many years.
It was 1988, Australia's bicentenary.
Celebration of the nation.
When the first Tangaras hit the tracks. Almost 40 years on, they're still the workhorses of the fleet. Today, their lifespan was extended for at least another decade.
They are showing their age and they need a bit of love.
$447 million will be spent on tech upgrades, plus better air conditioning, information screens and wheelchair access, buying time until the next fleet can be built locally.
We are 100% going ahead with Australian domestic manufacturing.
The Premier's pledge to keep manufacturing in New South Wales will take time and it will cost money. A further $18 million has been set aside to work out how to build Tangaras on shore, a fleet that's unlikely to be delivered for more than a decade.
It will take time to mobilise the industry, to stand up the capabilities. It won't happen overnight.
I don't see how they can build it here and in the time they've promised.
The government says the coalition's decision to build trains overseas might have been cheaper initially, but the defects are adding up.
I'm getting the bills from their failure.
Taylor Aiken, 7 News.
Who would have guessed Sydney petrol prices are rocketing up again as we head towards another long weekend? Andrew Denny joins me now from Stanmore. Andrew, it's only going to get more expensive.
Yeah, that's right. Already almost $2.30 here on Parramatta Road, and analysts say Sydney fuel prices will hit their peak this weekend, just as many people plan to head away. Now, today across the city, the average price for regular unleaded was 196 cents per litre. By the weekend, it's tipped to be $2.07 per litre. Citywide, though, today there was a 70-cent difference between the cheapest and most expensive petrol stations, so the advice, as always, is to check those fuel price comparison sites before filling up. So a bit of pain expected over the next few days. The good news, though, is that globally oil prices are trending downwards, which means we shouldn't see those record high prices that Sydney saw just a few months ago.
Andrew, thank you. Our Olympians are being warned their experience in Paris is likely to be disrupted by protests or even terror attacks. Games officials believe a cyber attack is almost certain, just one of numerous issues facing our team.
Just days after French police arrested a man accused of planning a terror attack on an Olympic soccer stadium, Australian officials confirm security is their highest priority, although
our responsibility is not the security of the Olympic Games. That is the matter for the French authorities.
They've revealed they'll take a federal police officer and 2 security experts.
We have inspected every venue.
An Olympic briefing today to discuss every possible problem. Like the Seine's water quality for triathlon and marathon swimming, still failing testing.
We need to prepare them for the possible pathogens that might be in there.
Warnings too on athlete protests.
Not on the field of play and not on the podium.
Preparations a challenge. 460 athletes, 500 coaching staff, 3,000 flights, 500 beds, 8 ice baths. Budget $24 million.
But when the athletes pack up and head out of Australia, which many already have, they won't be forced to leave all of their creature comforts behind. The AOC revealing it's gone to great expense and effort to make sure they have everything they need, including, thank you, good coffee.
They'll have 3 baristas, like the Tokyo Games, plus pallets of Vegemite, Weet-Bix, 4 and 20 pies.
There'll be pies.
Chris Reason, 7 News.
And later in the bulletin, Hugh Whitfield goes inside the athletes' village in Paris, what our Olympic stars can expect in less than 3 months, and the key piece of equipment our team has to ship in. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. Time now to check the weather with Angie Asimus. Angie, there's plenty of rain on the way.
Mark, it has been threatening all day. So far, 7 millimetres at Little Bay is the top metro total. We've bounced between grey skies, beautiful sunrise and even some sunshine throughout the day. The cloud delivered a milder start with lows in double digits. Tops reached 17 degrees in our west and 19 in the CBD. We have heavy rainfall on the way. The current warning area in yellow covers southeastern New South Wales. This is almost likely to ramp up in the early hours of the morning. Over the next few days, we can expect big falls. 6-hourly totals in the morning of 50 to 90 millimetres through that southeastern zone. 24-hourly totals between 100 and 150 millimetres of forecast shown in blue there. Will the wet weather clear for the weekend? I'll have those details very soon, Mark.
We hope so, Angie. Thank you. A Sydney crime spree captured on camera after the break, the violent night that landed this gang in jail. A win for Elon Musk, why Australia's online safety watchdog gave up the fight. P&O cancels more cruises as the famous brand starts shutting down. Later, the Australian breakthrough fighting a leading cause of blindness. And the DIY projects costing homeowners a fortune. Welcome back. P&O has cancelled more cruises after the shock decision to retire the brand. Several Pacific Adventure and Pacific Encounter itineraries have now been scrapped before the liners set sail under the Carnival brand. The vessels will be out of action for 2 weeks in March for rebranding and tech upgrades. P&O says customers will be contacted for refunds. Australia's online safety watchdog has dumped its lawsuit against social media giant X for keeping vision online of the Wakeley church stabbing. Billionaire tech owner Elon Musk declaring the decision a win for free speech.
It's the confronting vision the eSafety Commissioner had been fighting to get removed. But after 2 months of legal wrangling, Julie Inman-Grant has dropped the case.
I'm also going to court with X Corp in 5 other cases. So I made a strategic decision to withdraw here.
Still a win for Elon Musk, declaring freedom of speech is worth fighting for.
He issued a dog whistle to 181 million users around the globe, which resulted in death threats directed at me.
The internet safety watchdog had secured an interim global takedown order, which X never complied with. But last month, the federal court refused to extend it.
The government backs our regulators and we back the eSafety Commissioner.
Ms Inman-Grant opting to continue the battle in the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, where X is challenging the validity of the removal order. The Commissioner says she welcomes the chance to review her decision, which she insists was made to stop the footage from going viral and potentially inciting more violence.
This is a clear sign that we need to toughen our laws.
News Corp boss Michael Miller advocating for a new social licence framework.
They monetise misery.
Calling for the tech giants to be blocked in Australia if they don't play by the rules.
No company should be too big to regulate.
Rob Scott, 7 News.
3 men have been found guilty over 2 terrifying robberies across Western Sydney. Armed with a machete and taser, they made off with cash. Tonight we have exclusive videos of the crimes.
This marks the end of a crime spree that would land 3 men in jail and leave 5 victims mentally scarred. The evidence against Jason Arthur West, Stephen Dickinson and Tuan Tar overwhelming. It kicked off with a text message between 2 of the offenders. "Are we still going out tonight? Yes, my bra, we're set." Every moment in July 2022 captured on security video. The plan hitting up the Crocodile Farm Hotel at Ashfield. One offender held a taser to the security guard's head and said, "Don't move." Another grabbed his vest, "Come with me." West raised the machete towards a female employee and screamed, "Hey, you, come stop." She ran through the gaming area upstairs and hid. They make off with a small amount of cash. They are more successful at the 7-Eleven Enmore, where they bag cigarettes and take the till. A jury found all 3 men guilty of the armed robberies.
Because of the seriousness of the offending, the prosecution immediately asked that the men be taken into custody. And due to their lengthy criminal records and the likelihood of jail time, that application was granted.
They're facing 20 years. Leonie Ryan, 7 News.
There's new research just out what internet addiction is really doing to our children's brains. A must-see report for parents is next. Also, shorter ski seasons, why and the impact on resorts. India's Prime Minister wins a 3rd term, but it was close, and tears from the pollster who got it so wrong. Home renovations leaving owners with a house of horrors.
And ahead in sport from Accor Stadium with both Origin captains from Manly, we are live with the man who knows them best.
Welcome back. There's worrying new findings for parents showing a material change in the brainwaves of teenagers who spend too much time online. It's linked over exposure to social media and gaming, with direct impacts on brain function from problem solving to attention spans.
Internet addiction, young minds being overrun by the online world.
Social media is a big one. Gaming is a big one. Pornography is another one.
An obsession so excessive it's rewiring teenagers' brains.
They're showing that it has these effects on the biology of the developing adolescent.
UK researchers reviewed 12 studies analysing the brains of more than 200 teens with a diagnosed internet addiction, finding consistent evidence of disrupted signalling in crucial regions of the brain. It was particularly significant when participants tried to engage in activities that relied on the central executive network, crucial for attention, decision-making, planning and problem-solving.
A lot of clinical disorders begin in adolescence. So it is a really crucial time.
While more research is needed to identify how the brain changes are occurring, scientists stress addiction isn't the same as exposure, and people can spend a lot of time online without being addicted. Switching off sometimes the only solution, though that's easier said than done.
There are support groups for people with digital and internet addictions, but a lot of them are online, so that can be challenging.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
The length of Australia's winter ski seasons could be cut dramatically unless urgent action is taken to reduce emissions. A new report on the effects of climate change makes grim reading for ski resorts, now getting ready to fire up for the long weekend.
The new ski season opens this weekend, but currently short of the key ingredient.
It's been a slow start to the season with limited natural snowfall.
A new report on climate change doesn't lift the mood, modelling the potential devastating impact on our ski resorts.
I wouldn't say that it's a dire situation. I think it's a situation where we need to act now.
In 3 decades to 2010, the ski season averaged 110 days. If emissions go unchecked, by 2050 down to 35 days. By 2080, 1 skiable day. But if emissions are kept low, a stark difference.
It is really dramatic. And I suppose the positive way of looking at that is that there is still time to turn things around.
The resorts in New South Wales at higher altitudes are expected to fare better.
You've got a little bit of coverage up here.
But the winter season industry is already noticing climate change effects.
The same effects you probably see with any industry when the main season you want to sell is shrinking.
Alpine resorts alone contribute $3 billion annually to the economy. Then there's the rest of the snow industry. But today's report warns it's not just skiing at risk.
It's less water reaching agriculture in the Murray-Darling River system and the hydroelectric scheme.
For whom the mountains and the snow matter.
Chris Marr, 7 News.
Narendra Modi has been returned as Indian Prime Minister, but it wasn't the landslide he was banking on. While Modi and his supporters celebrated winning a 3rd term, the reality is a drastic swing against the ruling party and its allies. Tipped to secure 400 seats, they held on with 294 and will now rule with a coalition government. The result was too much for the CEO of a major polling company, breaking down in tears on live TV as it became clear his prediction was way off the mark. Nigel Farage's run for UK Prime Minister is off to a messy start. The politician pelted with a drink after his first full day of campaigning. The perpetrator, an OnlyFans model and Labor Party supporter. Her weapon, a banana milkshake. She was arrested while Farage headed straight for Macca's, returning with a whole tray of milkshakes. Home buyers rushing to grab a rung on the property ladder are being warned to take a good look at any fresh renovations. Often they've been badly done as part of a quick flip, with experts revealing their top 5 when it comes to dodgy repairs.
This is how a bathroom should be built, something Troy Shetter discovered the hard way when the young first homebuyer's dream property turned out to be a house of horrors.
It looked good for all of 10 minutes and then, it all just started crumbling away.
Behind the neat facade lurked multiple disasters, from dodgy stud walls to a homemade bathroom riddled with dampness and mould.
Removing the top of the drain in the shower showed that it was just a shower base on top of another shower base.
43% of homeowners have had a job turned sour. The top 5 epic fails are painting, landscaping, plumbing, cabinetry and tiling. All the effort to save money can be costly to fix.
Whole decks and pergolas being pulled down, bathrooms and kitchens being ripped out.
With building material costs up by 1/3 on pre-pandemic prices, it's little wonder budgets are tight for renovators.
Trying to save every dollar, you can't blame them, but unfortunately, in most cases, it leads to a much bigger and costly exercise.
Homebuyers are urged to obtain pre-purchase building inspections, which cost as little as $600. Jackie Quist, 7 News.
A little Aussie legend gets her own currency. Just ahead, how you can get your hands on Bluey's dollar bucks. 7 News with the only Australian cameras allowed inside the Olympic athletes' village. The simple drops to save eyesight, and it's an Aussie invention.
And soon in sport, live from McCaw Stadium, the 30-year-old Blues debutant who typifies Michael Maguire's new hard-nosed ethos.
Welcome back. Paris is expecting hot conditions during the Olympics, but air conditioning is not standard at the Athletes' Village. The rooms are almost complete, and 7 News was the only Australian media to take cameras inside.
What was once an industrial estate and film studio site, soon to welcome the athletes of the world. 2 kilometres from the main stadium, the Paris Olympic Village. More than 2,000 apartments, some on an island in the Seine. 14,250 cardboard beds. Definitely strong enough, we're told, for more than one person.
So I really hope that the Australians will have a good time here. We are making everything to make sure that we will answer their needs.
Like keeping cool, there'll be no air conditioning provided. Australia will buy in its own.
There is potential for extreme heat to occur during the Olympic Games. We need to put measures in place.
Athletes in poorer nations will be told to keep their curtains shut while cold water is pumped through the floors. Half an hour from the village, this is where many of our athletes will be competing, in the heart of Paris, surrounded by the city's landmarks. This will be the finish line for the triathlon and the cycling time trial on Pont Alexandre III. Plus, the La Concorde will host urban sports, including skateboarding, the archery here at Invalid. The game's boss with this advice for Brisbane.
It's get your vision clear from the start and be consistent, coherent throughout.
As the French capital counts down. In Paris, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
It's known for low prices. Now Aldi is planning the same deal with insurance, the supermarket chain offering car, home and contents coverage. It says all customers will be treated the same, unlike insurers that only tend to reward new clients. Aldi says prices will be competitive and the policy language straightforward. Taking a look at finance now, and the ASX 200 has closed 31 points higher, with the market hopeful the slowdown in GDP could signal interest rate relief. In response, real estate stocks were among the best performers, while commodity prices weakened. And one Aussie dollar is currently buying 66.56 US cents. Australia's favourite blue healer is getting her own money, known as Dollar Bucks. The Bluey collection, released tomorrow by the Royal Australian Mint, features the TV star on her own, with her family, and dressed up as the grannies. All 3 $1 coins can be purchased individually or as a set. The limited edition currency is expected to sell out fast. Australian scientists stopping the leading cause of vision loss in its tracks. Still to come, a big breakthrough, especially for older Australians. Eye drops. It sounds simple, but this is cutting-edge technology to restore sight. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now back to Mel at Accor Stadium. Hi again, Mel. The Blues have plenty to prove tonight.
Hi again, Fergo. Yeah, they keep hearing how Origin just means more to the Maroons. Tonight's their chance to prove that is just a lie. Coming up in sport, Origin greats Brett Camorley and Shane Webke are here to break down where Game 1 will be won and lost. And off the plane and into the gym, our Aussie Sevens girls raise the bar in pursuit of Olympic gold. Welcome back to Accor Stadium. In the countdown to Origin 1, we are doing our bit to spark a bit of that interstate niggle Jake Trbojevic just refuses to buy into, with more reasons why we don't like Queensland. Live now to Jaleesa Apps. Jaleesa, your special guest is the perfect man to tell us how Jake will handle the biggest match of his career.
Mel, the man beside me would be more nervous than most because he has the captains of both sides in the Manly Seagulls. Anthony Seibold, who are you going for? First of all, you're obviously a Queenslander, but you've got both the teams.
Yeah, I'm a Queenslander, so I'm going for Queensland to win this series, but I'd really like to see New South Wales Blues win tonight for Jakey Trbojevic, his first game as captain.
Can you give us a little bit of an insight into what Jake Trbojevic would be feeling now? We know he is one of the most passionate people you can meet.
He's such a competitor, very passionate. He'd be nervous leading his state for the first time, but I just know he'll go out there and compete really hard.
Have you had much contact with him?
Oh, you know what? I've tried to leave him alone in camp. I gave him a best of luck message earlier in the week, and then I've left him alone since then.
Daly Cherry Evans, he's very experienced. What would he be saying at the moment?
Well, Ches is so calm. So at the best of times, he'll be really calm. He'll just be keeping things nice and simple for the Queensland team.
And as the coach, you'd be praying for just no injuries?
I just want the three boys to come back for this weekend, uninjured, but all three playing really well.
Siebes, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck tonight. Go the Blues. There obviously is 5 debutants that Jake Trbojevic will be leading out there, Cam McInnes being one of them. He is exactly what Michael Maguire needs if they're going to get the win.
Strolling into the new era of the New South Wales Blues. A new coach, a new captain and 5 debutants.
Yeah, it's surreal, really. Something you think about more when you're younger, and then once you're playing, you try not to get too ahead of yourself.
At 30 years old, Cam McInnes is the 7th oldest Blues debutant in history, and his Origin opportunity could have easily passed him by. But he's tough, competitive, and has a never-give-up attitude, all the qualities Michael Maguire demands.
I was a young kid that he got to give a debut to, and I know how much important that is to him for all these players that he brings through.
That's when Maguire was in charge of Souths, and the soft spot remains. He tried to lure him to the Tigers when he was head coach. Finally, he's got his man.
Back when I was younger at Souths, the work we did with Madge, Luke Keary's in the same boat, Angus Crichton, a number of other guys that are at other clubs, we all speak about it. That work we did has really helped us in our careers, that toughness, that attitude.
Toughness comes naturally to another debutant. Softly spoken, Homoli Olakwatu has been chipping away at the goal of playing Origin since he was a youngster.
Since watching those Wednesday nights at home with my family, just dreaming about being in that arena, it is a dream come true. Very blessed to be a part of it.
Jaleesa Rapps, 7 News.
Delighted now to say that 2 people who scream New South Wales and Queensland joined me now, Brett Camorley and Shane Webke. Webby, welcome. We wanted to chat to you for a long time, but I'm going to start with Noddy first.
Yeah. So we are in New South Wales now. Yeah.
Noddy, all this talk from the Queenslanders about how much, the Maroons, they understand. Queenslanders get Origin way more than New South Wales. What do you reckon?
I think it's absolute rubbish, and I think tonight will prove it. I think I'm looking forward to Michael Maguire, who's had success at Clubland, who actually was the coach of the Kiwis who flogged Australia last summer, and now he gets to take New South Wales for that pride.
Webby, do you think it's true?
It's a myth. It always has been. But what we take great delight in is you're out there talking about it. You talk about it. You've noticed how we don't talk about Queensland spirit and that? You do. Queensland players used to represent New South Wales and beat the crap out of Queensland. So that's how all of this stuff grew up. And then, of course, it's grown into this great professional beast that we all know it to be. And not as much as you're making fun about it, and you are a back, so you don't really understand rugby. But
educated.
Well, the simile is the forwards will win this game tonight, and it'll have nothing to do with backs.
State of Origin, always an arm wrestle. Do well out of back 5 carries, then your middle forwards can do your stuff, and then the halves take the pride.
Mel, can you just translate what he said? Because I really didn't hear
that's a turn for the books, Shane Webke.
Make no mistake, this game here tonight is crucial. You lose this game here tonight, you will lose the series, and New South Wales will understand that.
This is a Queenslander now telling New South Wales that you normally used to go there. See how it's changing? See how it's changing, Mel?
Yeah.
Thank you, Shane, for your input.
We thank you for it. Yeah.
All right, predictions.
We're all united.
New South Wales will win, Mel. New South Wales will win. I think the forwards will hold each other. The backs will be the key for New South Wales. I think James Tedesco will have that Origin moment, and I think it'll be 22 points to 8 or 10 scoreline.
Mr. Webke?
No, this is going to be a tight game. It's supposed to be raining at the back end of this game. This will descend into a forwards battle, and we'll win by 2 points.
No pressure on Reece Walsh?
Nah, Reece, but he's got a big thing in front of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love your work,
It's called the New South Wales team.
Thanks very much, and go the Blues.
Yeah, of course, and you know I don't believe that, so thank you.
Well, before the first sellout in Women's State of Origin in Newcastle tomorrow night, the Sky Blues have their game faces on.
That's her game face. This is it. I really embrace it, and it's such a big milestone for Women's Rugby League, and it's going to be an amazing atmosphere tomorrow night.
Leading 1-0, New South Wales can secure victory in the first 3-game women's series. Novak Djokovic's latest reign on top of the world rankings is over after he withdrew from the French Open with a knee injury. Jannik Sinner will become Italy's first ever male #1 next week. The Australian Open champion advanced to the semi-finals with a straight sets win over Grigor Dimitrov. He'll now play Spanish phenomenon Carlos Alcaraz, who dispatched Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets. Two-time defending women's champion Iga Swiatek also eased into the last four. Our Aussie Sevens women won't waste a minute in pursuit of Olympic gold in Paris. Back home this morning after clinching the World Sevens Series title in Madrid, they stepped off the plane and straight into the gym.
There's a great vibe within the group at the moment. There's a lot of belief. We've got some amazing athletes in the team, and everyone really wants to play for each other.
Australia and New Zealand are the gold medal favourites. Straight to the gym, Fergo. The Aussie women, they are not mucking around. Neither are the Blues. I said by 6 yesterday, might be a little bit closer, but either way, the Blues to win, as always.
I'm going 14 points now. I'm feeling confident, Mel.
Oh, 14. Okay, excellent.
Go the Blues. Thank you.
Go the Blues. Thanks.
It's a leading cause of vision loss in those over the age of 50, and treatment for macular degeneration can often be time-consuming and invasive. But Australian researchers are now working on a groundbreaking alternative involving a simple eye drop.
Karen Mazurek was diagnosed with wet macular degeneration a decade ago. A leading cause of vision loss, the symptoms can be severe and sudden.
Once diagnosed, the major loss with the vision was quite extreme.
She needs eye injections every 7 weeks or else she could go blind.
So there's limits on where I can go and what I can do.
But there's hope. A new, less invasive option could soon be available, with the team at the Australian Centre for Eye Research developing a cutting-edge form of gene therapy.
Potentially replace need for regular eye injection with a simple eye drop.
Creating a new functioning copy of the defective eye gene, which is delivered into the retinal cells via a specially engineered non-infectious virus injected once into the back of the eye. That gene can then be switched on with the eye drop that a patient can do themselves at home.
More convenient and also more comfortable.
It would be groundbreaking. It would completely change the way macular degeneration is treated, and it would be so much easier for the patient as well.
The technology is still 5 to 10 years away from moving to human trials, but if successful, it's believed the drops could also be used to treat a range of other eye conditions and diseases.
This can be used for things like diabetic macular edema, vein occlusion.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Now Angie's back with the forecast. Angie, it's looking like a soggy evening.
Mark, we are in for a bit of a drenching in the coming hours. There are even flood warnings in place. Those details next.
Tonight's edition of The Nightly is out now. Australia's only digital newspaper to drop nightly. And it's free. Delivered to your pocket every weeknight. Spend your night wisely. Free at thenightly.com.au.
Tonight's 7 News headlines. Fans are packing Olympic Park with Blues players now at Accor Stadium ready for Origin 1. A pram-pushing woman has been tracked down and arrested accused of robbing a home during a funeral. And stars have paid tribute to Hey Hey It's Saturday funny man John Blackman, who has died at the age of 76. Now here's Angie with the latest on Sydney's weather.
Thank you very much, Mark. It is going to be a wet night around the Sydney region and to the north and south of the city as well. There is a flood watch for parts of the Central Coast, metropolitan area, Illawarra and South Coast. So far it is overcast, currently sitting on 14 degrees in the CBD with an earlier top of 19. Across the suburbs, Manly also reached 19 degrees today, 17 for Parramatta, 14 for Campbelltown. Some showers through southern and western suburbs so far, no more than 6 or 7 millimetres, but they will become more widespread in the coming hours. Warnings for heavy rainfall cover this region, highlighted in yellow over the state's southeast. The worst of this is all forecast for early tomorrow morning, with up to 90 millimetres over 6 hours, up to 150 millimetres over 24 hours. That wild weather is being driven by a surface trough extending from the Illawarra out into the Tasman, combined with a low and humid onshore winds. That's the recipe for a drenching. Around the capitals, Brisbane is looking sunny, 23 degrees, partly cloudy for Melbourne and for Adelaide. Canberra to see some rain. Perth, rain and a possible storm, and sunshine for Darwin. Statewide, widespread rain in Sydney, the Illawarra and on the south coast. Heavy falls likely in the Illawarra and northern parts of the south coast, basically where this trough and lower positioned. The chance of severe storms covers the coast from Sydney right down to Ulladulla, and possible snow for alpine peaks. This is the metro region tomorrow. Moisture-laden winds driving that wet weather across the suburbs, a range of 5 to 45 millimetres possible. Much of this may well fall overnight, and that'll keep a lid on temperatures no warmer than about 17 or 18 degrees. On the water, southwesterly winds to 15 knots before dawn, becoming variable and easing to 10 knots in the morning. Back in the CBD, that cloud cover is going to prevent too much heat from escaping tonight, so the forecast low is 12 degrees, a top of 18 with rain and the chance of a storm. Ahead, rain easing to showers for Friday, just a shower or two by Saturday. Sunday brings a return to fine weather for the end of the weekend with a pleasant top of 20 degrees, and the first half of the working week also looking good, tops around 19 or 20, but a grey one tonight and tomorrow. Mark?
Right, Angie, and a very happy birthday to you.
Thank you. It's been a good one.
Well done.
Hope you enjoyed the cake.
I did. Very good. That is 7 News for this Wednesday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.